Hi everyone, Janie here. Welcome back to my garden. My goal for today is to work in this area, which is where I have my star jasmine espalier. Now, I love espaliers. I had them at my last house. I had an ivy espalier, and I had a honeysuckle espalier, and they were, I just love them, but they are some work. They are not a set it and forget it type of garden installation. You do have to take care of it. You do have to maintain it. Depending on what plant you pick for your espalier, that will determine how much work it's going to take. For instance, my ivy espalier that I had in the very front of my house that I just loved, I had to address that espalier every single week. Every single week I had to go out there and I had to make sure that the ivy wasn't growing in between the diamonds, and getting messy and getting attached to the house siding and all that kind of stuff. So although I loved it, it did take so much work. What I have here is I have star jasmine espalier. How many times in this video am I going to say espalier, by the way? We should keep a counter. But this is star jasmine, and it is so much easier than using ivy. It is a slower grower, but I actually have been very, very happy at how quickly this has filled in. But I have not really had to touch this yet this season. And it just finished blooming. Star jasmine blooms in May for us here in Northern California, Zone 9B. It just finished blooming, and so now I'm at the point where I want to clean it up. I want to train it further up the wires that I have, and I'll show you the wires, a closer look at the wires in a little bit. And then I also want to fertilize it as well. So it's just kind of like maintenance day on the espalier, making sure that I'm taking care of it. I also want to clean up underneath it. Let me show you. So I'm pretty sure I installed this espalier in September of 2023. So it's about a year and a half old, and you can see that it's doing great. There's just a couple of spots where it hasn't covered the wire, which I'm very, very excited about. I think this is a great place for star jasmine because it gets beautiful morning sun. The white stucco wall warms it up, and then it gets afternoon shade, which I think is absolutely beautiful. So it's a great place for it. The planting area underneath it isn't as good. I have tried a couple things in this area. First of all, when we first moved in, there was 3 giant overgrown rose bushes that we tried to get rid of, and you can see they're still coming back a little bit. So it's something that I've been continually fighting. I have planted some convolvulus, some morning glory, bush morning glory, and that is coming out today because I have not liked that plant. To me, it hasn't been pretty. It bloomed a little bit this spring, but that's about it, and that's about all I got out of it. So I think that these guys are going to come out today. I do like the silvery green foliage of it, but it's just not enough. It's just not enough for the area. What I am going to be leaving is this Superbena whiteout. It is a beautiful plant, and ultimately this is not the plant that I want here because if you can see on my berm right here, I have Superbena pink cashmere that's gorgeous, but it just kind of looks weird right next to the whiteout. It's just two of similar plants that are just a little bit different colors, so I want something with a little bit more contrast over here. And what I'm thinking over here is I am thinking of foxtail fern, asparagus fern, but the foxtail variety. I think that like having a mass planting of that underneath the espalier would be gorgeous. I'm a little worried about how it's going to handle it because it does like 11 o'clock before the sun has reached its peak. It does get really intense sun. So I'm going to have to trial it out a little bit before I mass plant them here. And so I think I'll probably go to the garden center sometime this week and grab a couple of them and plant them in here and actually see how they do while I still have the Superbena whiteout in there. So anyway, my goal for today, first of all, is I'm going to clean up underneath here because it is an absolute mess. And then once I get that cleaned up, I'm going to fertilize the star jasmine, and then I'm going to clean up the star jasmine and kind of just start training it So you can see as the new growth comes and everything's still soft, that's when you want to come around and you want to kind of twirl it around the wire just like that. If you guys can see, I have eye hooks into the stucco. There's anchors and then there's eye hooks into the stucco, and then there's wire. And that's how I do all my espaliers. That's how I did it at my last house. It works great. It's such an easy installation. And this was a big blank wall, and I just can't imagine anything else but this beautiful espalier on it. I love it. So it's going to be hot today. We're going to get up to about 95 degrees again, which is why I'm out bright and early this morning. It's 6:30 in the morning. I'm sure I look super tired, but the hard thing about working in this spot is the sun shines off the white stucco wall and it like magnifies the heat. So I was like, okay, I am getting up early and I am getting going tomorrow morning working on this. So I'm going to get started. I'm going to set up the camera and I'm just going to go until it gets too hot. Oh my goodness, I completely forgot about these. Robbie made me concrete balls. Look at how cool these are. And I stuck them in here and I forgot. Sorry, Robbie. I completely forgot. Out of sight, out of mind, right? Look at how cool these are, though. He made those. Isn't that amazing? Okay, I gotta find a better place for these. This is obviously not the right place because this just covers them up and then I forget about them. All right, sun is all the way up. I know this looks really scary. This looks like I took everything out, but I didn't, trust me. I took everything except for the Super Beano whiteouts out. I actually cut them way back. You can see there's one there, there's one there, there's one back here, one right there, and so on and so on. And they should flush back out very quickly, especially because now they're going to have some full sun and not be shaded by a whole bunch of leggy growth and the convolvulus and all the other stuff that was in here. So it actually feels kind of like a breath of fresh air that I cleaned all that out. Shay came out here and she was like, oh, that looks good. And I kind of agree with her. This area needs to be more simple because this is very complicated and this whole area is very complicated. complicated. So I think under here needs to be a little bit more simple, which is why I think I'll let the whiteout grow back in. But I do think just having a big swath of that foxtail fern right underneath there, I think that that's probably going to be the way to go. If the lighting requirements are right for it, I have to, like I said, I have to test it out. But I think ultimately that's what I want in this spot. So anyway, that is all done. Now I want to turn my attention to cleaning up the espalier, and it's just kind of like trimming some things. You can see up there, it's starting to get really full. Is that a bird's nest? Oh, I think that might be a bird's nest up there. Oh, I'm going to look a little bit closer when I get the ladder, but if that's a bird's nest, I'm not going to touch it. So just kind of cleaning it up. You can see like that one needs to be twisted around. These need to be started training up this way. So just a little bit of cleanup. And then also we have a lot of old blooms from the star jasmine, and I'm going to get my blower and I'm just going to blow it all so that they all get knocked off, or a lot of them get knocked off. So that's what I'm going to do right now. But I know, like I said, I know this is scary, but it'll be good. Trust me, it'll be good. Oh, and I forgot to show you all of my black Mondo grass that I got out of there. They look really good. I planted them as like little tiny 3-inch pots. So they definitely bulked out while they were growing underneath all that super beano whiteout. So now I have to, I don't want to get rid of these. I want to find a place to plant them in the garden. So I think I'm just going to do like a mass planting. So it'll end up being like a big circle of black Mondo grass. I just have to decide where. I'm not totally sure. All right, let me get a better look at what's going on up here, because I don't want to mess up. Is that a bird's nest? Might be a... Sorry, you guys can't see anything. I think it was the beginnings of a bird's nest, but I don't think anything came of it. You see that? I don't think anything came of it. I'm not worried about it. All right, my star jasmine espalier is all cleaned up for the season. So I didn't mention this, star jasmine blooms on old wood. And so that means very, very shortly, my star jasmine right here is going to be setting its blooms for next year, setting the growth that the blooms are going to grow on for next year. So right now, just after blooming is the perfect time to trim your star jasmine, whether you have an espalier or whether you have just star jasmine in your garden that you want to prune back. By pruning it now, that means you're going to get lots and lots and lots of blooms next season, which is what you want because star jasmine blooms are just absolutely incredible. So I don't know if you all noticed, but pretty much every bit of the wire is covered except for right here. This is the only bit of wire that's not covered yet, which is just amazing. I cannot believe how quickly this espalier filled in. It makes me so happy that, I mean, it's like it was meant to be here. So the last thing that I want to do today is I want to fertilize. I am putting just an all-purpose plant food on the striped jasmine. You want to do it early in the spring and then another time midsummer. That's usually what I do for star jasmine. I don't usually want to do it late in the fall because I don't want to promote any new growth during the winter season. Star jasmine is an evergreen, but you can pretty much say it's a semi-evergreen because if it does get too cold, it'll start losing some of its leaves. So you do want to protect it just a little bit. So by putting fertilizer on in the fall right before the cold season, you're just setting it up for failure. But midsummer, while it's putting on its new growth right after its bloom time, I think it's the perfect time. I mean, not I think, it is the perfect time to fertilize it. And I already fertilized these guys one time earlier this spring. So this is my second fertilizing, and then I don't have to do anything to my espalier for the rest of the season except for keep it cleaned up, which is pretty easy. And I will show you what a star jasmine looks like that needs some fertilizer. So this guy right here, this one has some yellowing pale leaves. These leaves are they're just kind of pale. I hope you guys can see that. It is so bright. I can't see the screen. So I don't know what I'm showing you. So hopefully you can see these leaves. These leaves are just kind of looking pale. They're supposed to be deep, dark, glossy leaves like these guys over here. These guys look really good. I'm still going to fertilize them anyway, but if you do see your star jasmine start to get a little paler like that, that's probably a sign that it needs some good fertilizer. All right, so the espalier is all done. Star jasmine is all fertilized. I cleaned out the garden bed underneath the espalier, just waiting for the super beano whiteout to grow back in, flush back out. And then I also got to go to the garden center and get a couple of the foxtail ferns to see how they do in that spot. So I'm happy with this, but I just remembered I have all of this black mondo grass that I need to plant up, because if I don't get that planted right now, it is going to suffer because, like I said, it's going to be 95 degrees today. So I got to go find a place for this. I don't even know. I have no idea. Let me walk around and see. So a great place that I ideally would want to put it would be all around the Lavender River. It would be really, really pretty for that to be the grass all around the Lavender River. However, black mondo grass, it can handle full sun in cooler climates only. And I've noticed that if I put it in full sun here, it scorches. So I definitely need to put it in a place that gets some part shade, a little bit more shade. So I'm thinking underneath one of the trees, or kind of just tucked in somewhere. I don't know. Oh, maybe around the fig tree or something like that. Let me see. All right, so here's where I'm thinking. I have the purple and orange garden bed over here that I think desperately needs some dark foliage in it. It really doesn't have any contrasting foliage color except for the lemon coral sedum right here, but it does need some dark foliage. However, I have a whole bunch of grassy texture from the orange blaze nyphophia right here, and I think having the grassy texture of the black mondo grass, it's just not the right fit. I need something a little bit more bold for dark foliage there. Plus, I think that's probably a little too much sun for it still. I might be able to get away with it kind of right here. I just don't think that's the right spot. But if I come over here, right by the fig tree, let me back up, you can see I have this kind of swath around the Miss Molly butterfly bush right there that's still open and still needs something there. And I've tried multiple things there. I've tried like pretty shady things. I tried a Gardenmeister fuchsia there. They fried. I've tried a full sun thing and it just hasn't been able to work. It's like a really, really hard place because it gets a lot of shade, but then also some sun. And so I do think the black mondo grass might be a really good option. I mean, honestly, the best option for right there would be surefire begonia, because then I wouldn't have to worry about it. But I want to try the black mondo grass right here. I think that would be really, really interesting, and it might be a really good place for it. So I'm going to go get my auger and I'm going to dig some holes to transplant the black mondo grass. While I'm at it, I'm going to come clean out this stuff right here. So yeah, so just all around here, I think that will be good. All right, you guys, so I got the black mondo grass transplanted here. I think this is going to be a really good spot for them. I think I forgot to say that this black mondo grass is from Isley Nursery. Isley Nursery is usually the nursery that does a lot of conifers and trees. And they do the Korean maples, the really, really beautiful Korean maples. And then they also do plants like this, like black mondo grass. So it's a really, really great specimen, really good specimen. I just have to find the right spot for it, which I'm having a hard time. Like, it's definitely not full sun. I don't think it's full shade. Maybe this, where it's a little bit dappled, is going to be the right place for it. I started cleaning up under the fig tree, but I realized how much more I have to clean up. So I think that that's going to be another day because I am a bit tired. I've been working a couple hours already outside. So I watered all this in. We'll hook it up to drip and I'll keep you all updated on how this black mondo grass is going to do right here. So this kind of gardening, I love this kind of gardening. I love planting, right? I love planting things, but kind of finding fine tuning stuff like the Espalier, I was enjoying myself so much when I was like just twisting the little pieces and cutting off a leaf here and cutting off a leaf there, and then being able to transplant plants. You know, you're finding the right spot for a plant is not a one and done thing. Sometimes it takes a couple times to find the exact right spot. So this kind of gardening, it gets me really excited. So anyway, a good day. I think I'm done for the day. I think I need to go take a shower already, and it's not even 10 o'clock yet, but that's how it is on these hot days when you get up early to garden. So I hope you all enjoyed this, and I hope you all have a chance to get in your garden today.